Hey guys, this is Cam for 15 back at it with another video for you guys on Cam for 15 Talk Sports. I'm joined by my Uncle Daryl, and we are back to discuss more NFL football. Now, I know we're slightly late on our NFL stuff, but we were pretty busy this week. But in terms of the recaps of all the games, we'll just kind of measly go into things. I don't want to go ultimately in depth, but yeah. And then so offshoot, we already made our predictions on the Broncos game. We both went Broncos. That epically failed because the Broncos suck, but we'll get to that in a minute. But anyways, let's cover about the games that happened last week. So the Thursday night game last week was the Dolphins versus the Bengals. The Bengals ended up beating the Dolphins 27-15. Obviously, the big story point out of this game was the fact that Tua apparently, well, no, not apparently, he had another concussion. And at first I thought he messed up his fingers, like he got sacked and his fingers were all like, dislocated and everything. They had to pop it back into place. But no, it's like a freaking, I guess in a way, it's like kind of like a brain seizure, just the body just seizing up on itself. So I think from the Bills game is people thought he had a concussion at first because he collapsed and everything. And then, well, here he has a concussion now. So this is a bad look from the Dolphins standpoint. They probably should have not played him on a short week. I don't know why they did that. But now they're gonna look into it and hopefully, player safety wise, it gets better. I think the NFL did upgrade like their protocols now, so things like this don't happen.
Well, and I don't want to get too deep because I know we have other things in which to talk about, but this is one of the things I can't stand about the NFL. They are so reactive and not proactive when it comes to player safety. They always seem to have a protocol in place that is inferior, but when that protocol fails, that's when all of a sudden they want to start doing something, and then they don't blame themselves, they blame somebody else, like this independent arbitrator or whatever they call it, contractor. They blame that person. Well, that person followed your rules, your regulations, your policy, and deemed Tua Tagovailoa ready to go for Thursday night. That's what Miami say. That's what Miami says they followed. So that being said, after Tua had this particular concussion, which it appears that he should not have played anyway, that's when the NFL wants to go into overdrive and protect the shield and say, due to this, we are going to reconstruct our concussion protocols and add this and add this and add that. Well, you have all of these doctors, all of this medical personnel, and now all of a sudden you're going to wait until someone basically almost gets killed on the field to say you want to go ahead and change your policies. The policy was flawed, obviously, from the beginning. So the NFL that does what the NFL always does. They're very reactive. I mean, they're rarely proactive. If they're proactive about anything, we never hear anything about it. So, prayers go to Tua and his family. So, with that being said, the Bengals did win. I mean, for the most part, they really dominated the game. But, it was a big loss for Miami.
Yeah. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater is now the new starting quarterback, so quarterback with veteranship. Honestly, when he came in, he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. So
I mean, look good, but again, man, it's different when you don't have your top guy up in there who had such a cohesive feel with Hill and Waddle. Now Waddle didn't have a great game, but I chalk that more up to because Teddy Bridgewater just dropped back and he just looked for Tyreek Hill because Tyreek Hill was like, hey, I want to burn this guy. I was in the media all week telling me I want to burn this guy, so you make sure you look for me.
yep.
So, anyway, you know, Tyreek Hill had a great game. Waddle didn't. Dolphins lost. And Miami was not balanced at all with their offense. And that's one of the reasons why they lost.
Oh, yep, pretty much. I'm 0-1. My uncle's 1-0.
Yep.
Next game, Chicago versus New York. You can get more in-depth thoughts on our game recap of that from last week.
Yeah.
New York Giants, they pretty much have their way with the Bears. Now I will say for Justin Fields. It was probably his best game, but still needs to improve. But the Giants just have their way offensively in the first half because of the boots and everything, and then their defense was able to put pressure on Fields and everything. But the game was relatively boring from a viewer standship, but whatever, it is what it is. I went with Chicago, so I lost, and my uncle went with the Giants.
Yeah, well, the Bears with a piss poor offense going on the road. Usually they say defense travels. Well, the Bears defense travels. I don't know what the hell happened to the Bears offense. 4 field goals from a brand new field goal kicker who they just pulled off the street was the best player, was the best person in uniform for the Bears. So let that sink in. It's why the Bears.
Yep. So I'm 0-2. My uncle's 2-0. Next game. This game was in London, and that was the Vikings versus the Saints. The Saints had the lead late, but the Vikings came back, and they, for some odd reason, left a wide open receiver. No, that was the Lions game, but they get a touchdown. Then
Hey, Cameron,
yeah.
Let's pause for a second. We got to come back. I got to take this call.
Okay. Back. The Vikings got a late touchdown. The Saints were driving, and Will Lutz was looking like they to kick a 61-yard field goal or something like that. And
it was a 61-yarder to tie, I believe. No, it was 61
to tie. Yes.
Tie, yeah.
And it had the distance. He had the leg. It just hits the goalpost, bounces on the bottom one, and it bounces out.
Right. It hit the upright, came back left.
Yeah.
And it looked as if it was going in, and then it hit the crossbar and then bounced forward. The funny part about that is in order to keep the Saints in the game earlier, he had kicked another 60-yard field goal in order to keep the Saints in the game. And I've never seen a game in which I was really looking forward to seeing it. A game in which a field goal kicker kicked 2 60-plus yarders in one game. For me, that would have been a first. I don't know if that would have been a first in NFL history or not, but that would have been a first for me. So the Saints basically went into England without Alvin Kamara, without Jameis Winston, and I think they also know Michael Thomas, and they almost got out of there with a W.
Yeah.
Dennis Allen coached a great game.
Yeah. Vikings win. So we both went Vikings. So I'm 1-2. My uncle's 2-1.
Yeah.
Next game.
Who did I lose? Oh, it was the stupid Broncos. Oh my goodness gracious. Broncos.
Oh no, my bad. You're 3-0. My bad. I made it freaking.
No. Remember, I picked the Broncos too.
No, this is week 4.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Next game, the Browns versus the Falcons. I haven't watched the majority of this game, but the Falcons ended up finding a way to win, and they beat the Browns like I predicted.
Oh yeah, you got to really throw that little caveat up in there, right? Like I predicted.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought that we both went with the Falcons, but I think I switched my pick because originally I wanted to go with the Browns, but the Browns did not have they didn't have Clown or Myles Garrett. So I think that's why we switched, because they really wasn't going to have a pass rush.
Yeah. I have you with Atlanta winning.
Yeah. I thought that's why we switched.
Yep. So yeah. Hey, not a good loss for the Browns. You should be, even with a backup quarterback and what you have, you should be more talented than the Falcons, but they're not really looking good in that AFC North right now. But
and the Falcons lost Cordell Patterson too.
Yep.
And they were going running back by committee and winning the game.
Yep. So yep. Otherwise, record-wise, I'm 2-2. My uncle is 4-0. Next game, the Washington Commanders versus the Cowboys. Cowboys just blew them out.
Enough said. Oh.
Yeah. Nothing to talk about.
I think we were quick with the prediction on that one too.
Yeah.
So
record-wise, 3-2 for me. Uncle 5-0. So the Seattle Seahawks versus the Detroit Lions. This was a freaking shootout. But the Seahawks were up big, but then the Lions, they fought back again. It's just shocking that they're putting an offense on the board like this. And we'll talk about the Broncos, but it's shocking how the Seattle Seahawks, they're putting up crazy tons of points with Geno Smith when a year ago they had Russell Wilson. But like I said, we'll talk about that later. Lions continue to be impressive. They were out Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they still put up 45 points.
And they are impressive.
Yeah.
They're impressive. Their offense is impressive. Their defense is absolutely atrocious. But at the same time, though, I mean, I really like what Dan Campbell has brought to the Lions, and I think I've said this on a couple of occasions during our talks this year. But Geno Smith is really, really, really impressing. Rashad Perry had an absolutely fantastic game. So it just makes you wonder what was wrong with the Seahawks last year.
Good question. My record's 3-3. My uncle's 5-1. Next game is the Titans versus the Colts. All I know is the Titans freaking rushed all over the Colts, and the Colts couldn't do anything to stop it. That's it.
I don't understand the Colts. 1 week they are beating Tom Brady and freaking Mahomes, and the next time they losing to the doggone Titans. The Titans.
Yeah.
They I guess, man, they're just like the missing link, man. You just can't understand what's going on in the locker room of the Colts. But
yeah, we'll talk more in depth about the Colts when we get to our recap of the Broncos-Colts game.
Okay.
But,
all right. But I think I picked the Colts this game, I believe.
Yeah, you picked the Colts. I picked the Titans.
Yeah.
So I'm 4-3, and I'm 5. You're 5-2.
Okay.
All right. Another really good game was I didn't see most of the games because my eyes was paying attention to the Bears game, and then I went out Sunday to get a haircut at the time. So I was only watching the Bears game strictly. So I all the games I wanted to see, I really didn't get to see. Next game was the Eagles versus the Jaguars. The Eagles ended up beating the Jaguars. At some point, the Jaguars were up, and then the Eagles came back because, just the firepower they got offensively was crazy.
Well, the Eagles went up early. The Jaguars came back.
Oh, yeah,
the Jaguars took the lead, and then the Eagles pretty much just shut them down, and their offense took over and wound up winning the game. I believe it was 29-21.
Yes.
So the Eagles are still the league's only undefeated team. I can't remember who picked who. I know I was impressed with the Jaguars, but
we were both Eagles.
And we were both Eagles. So, but again, after those couple of weeks, Jaguars looked really good. So, keep your eyes on them Jaguars, people.
Yep. My record's 5-3. My uncle is 6-2. Next game was the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the New York Jets, and but I remember last week I was like, I might take the Jets. And I freaking regretted.
I thought you did.
No, I took Pittsburgh. We both took Pittsburgh. We thought they should beat the Jets.
Are you sure? I could have sworn you took the Jets.
No, I'm looking at my prediction sheet. I took Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But
yeah,
I know this. I'm kicking myself after not.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I'm kicking. Well, I'll tell you this: if I had known that they were going to come back, they were going to start Zach Wilson, I probably would have took the Jets because I'm not typically in these type of situations. You go with who's the better quarterback when they're so even like the way they are. Typically, it depends on who the quarterbacks are. But in this case, if it had been Trubisky and whoever and Flacco, yeah, I mean that's what I was thinking. I'm gonna pick the Steelers, But if I had known Wilson would have been playing, then yeah, I think I would have probably leaned towards the side of the better quarterback.
Yeah,
but Trubisky does what Trubisky does. He stinks up the joint, and
Yep, and that's the biggest talking point out of this game. Mitchell Trubisky was benched for Kenny Pickett, which they should have did from the start of the season. I've been as a Bears fan, I was never on this Mitch hype train. A lot of people thought he was that dude. He wasn't. I thought he was just an average to below average quarterback that pretty much after he left the Bears, he became a career backup quarterback. And by this move alone, now that's what he is. He's a career backup quarterback.
Backup. I got to admit, his start for me is over. It's over.
Yeah, that's it. So his NFL career as a starter.
God forbid he gets hurt, but this kid was slinging it all over the place after he came in. He threw some picks, but that's expected with the way he was slinging it all the way around with this wide receiver core. And it seems like Pickett and Pickens, they're starting to get a little continuity together. So that might be something to look forward to in the coming weeks.
So record for me is 5-4. My uncle's 6-3. The next game was the Bills at the Ravens. And the Bills ended up winning late with a field goal. The Ravens did something stupid. Well, the Ravens not only were up big, so the defense again gives up a big lead to another team that they probably should have held on and blew out. Then for some reason, the Ravens, instead of kicking the field goal and going up some more points, I think they would have been up 2 scores or something like that. I think if they kicked the field goal,
they would have been up 3. But he decided to go for it.
Yep.
4th down instead of kicking the field goal. That's where I was just like, no, you probably should have. Your defense was playing well. The reason why he elected to go for that 4th down with so much time on the clock, he knew based on what was going on in that second half that Josh Allen would have went down the field and scored a touchdown, or he felt that way. But at the same time, he played the odds and lost.
Yep.
Oh, however, I will say this, though. That 4th down call was a good call. Lamar Jackson held that ball too long. And Devin Duvernay was in the corner of the end zone wide open by himself. And Jackson missed him. He held it too long. The defensive back had time to recover. And by then, he was almost about to get sacked. So he just wildly threw it up in that area. And we all saw what happened. Yep. DB made the play on the ball. He would have threw it earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be talking about how great a coach John Harbaugh is.
Yep. So yeah, that's the thing that it shot them in the foot. So yeah, the Bills escaped with the win, but they got to win right now. If you were paying attention, at one point my uncle, when his prediction was 5-0 and I was 3-2, it looked like my uncle might actually win this freaking week.
Oh yeah, I believe I picked Baltimore.
Yeah, you picked Baltimore. Right now, we're equally tied at 6-4 each.
Oh, I knew you were gonna catch up. So it wasn't a thing. You're a pretty smart guy. You know what you're doing with this NFL stuff.
So yeah. Next game, the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Houston Texans in a rematch from last year where the Texans beat them, but this time the Chargers came out and won. They just they almost blew this game. Texans were trying to make a comeback, but the Chargers, I think, got a late field goal or a touchdown, and they ended up holding on to win the game. Joey Bosa, he's on IR. Keenan Allen, he's been out. He's even going to be out next week. Right now, the Chargers, they just get wins at a premium right now if they want to keep up in that AFC West, because it looks like the Chiefs ain't slowing down one bit. Yeah,
they got to win these games. But we talked about it in our last video that one of the things that drove us nuts about the Chargers that they can't afford a major injury.
Yep.
They really don't have a lot of depth. After Mack and Bosa, you're really guessing as far as who's coming up behind them. So moving forward, let's see how they go. But a better team would have beat them.
Yep.
And a lot of people know it too. So the Chargers, for me, are in a little bit of trouble if they can't stay healthy.
Yep. We both went Chargers. We're 7-4 each in our predictions. Cardinals and Panthers. Not even a waste of time. All I know is I guess people are saying Baker Mayfield absolutely stinks.
And what did I tell you? I said by week 7, he will be benched. I'm going to hold firm to that.
Sam Darnold's back apparently now.
Huh?
Sam Darnold's back now.
By week 7, Baker Mayfield will be benched.
Yeah, more than likely. What's the head coach? Matt Rule can be fired after the season.
And he's another one too. Yeah, I gotta admit, signing Matt Rule to a 7-year, 40-something, I don't know how much million, but I know he got 7 years straight out of college. That was damn ridiculous. I don't even know who the owner of the Panthers is, but that seemed like a good old boy network move.
Yeah.
You know, so I know him. So I'm gonna sign him to all this money.
Yep. Moving on, and probably what I would say shock game of the week was the New England Patriots almost coming out on top against the Green Bay Packers. They take the Green Bay Packers to overtime.
Third-string quarterback.
Bailey Zapp.
With the third-string quarterback. Now, granted, I get it. They came into this week preparing for Brian Hoyer. They probably had no film. Well, obviously, they had no film on. What was the young man's name again?
Bailey Zapp.
Bailey Zapp. They have no film on him whatsoever. So there's not much they can do once he's in the game. That kid got in the game, and for some strange reason, it's one thing to have no film, but it's another thing that the Packers just went straight stupid.
It also didn't help. Aaron Rodgers threw a pick 6 in this game.
Yeah.
Yep. Not the best look. And I was a Bears fan, and it continues to piss me off how all these other teams can actually do something against the Packers, and yet the Bears always get themselves in their own ways.
Yeah. And then here it is. We got a second-year quarterback who's supposed to be much better than this Zapp kid. And I mean, this Zapp kid showed things that just you want to see out of the quarterback we got.
Well, statistic-wise, he wasn't really lighting them up.
Wasn't really lighting them up, but he was moving the chains. Maybe, and you know what? Hold on. I'm getting off on something different. The play calls were suited for him to move the chains.
Yep.
Luke Getsy.
Yep. So, Packers, they avoid probably disaster in Lambeau. That's not good from the standpoint, but right now I don't think if you ask me right now, probably the best team in the freaking NFC North right now is probably, in terms of offensively looking, is probably the freaking Lions. So
I think the Lions, we had 4 games, and 3 of them they scored better than 30.
Yep.
Or it might have been all 4. We'd have to go back and look, but I think the 3 of the 4 games they played, they hit 30, 35, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and they took even though they lost, they took the Vikings in their building to the limit. They had to get a late touchdown just to beat them.
Yeah. And that was the only game they didn't hit. The only game they didn't hit 30.
Yep.
30. Because that game they had 24.
Yeah.
So I mean, Lions can put some points on the board.
Yeah. Both 9-4. Next game, Denver versus Las Vegas. This was pretty much a back and forth game. Probably the Broncos out of this season so far, and we'll talk about the Broncos in a minute, but they're probably their best game of the season, probably because the Raiders have a barely to non-existent defense is probably why they look so good, but even then, their freaking putrid offense is still bad enough. But this is a back and forth game. The Raiders end up getting on top late in the game, and there's really nothing the Broncos could have done. So the Broncos are not in a good spot right now. Again, we'll talk about the Broncos later, but good win for the Raiders. They beat a division rival. Especially you need to get a win, especially before you go to Kansas City this Monday night. Yeah, we both went Raiders.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I think in this particular case, I think the last 3 weeks I done went with the Raiders and it let me down.
You went with the Raiders this week.
I know I went with the Raiders. Yeah. I went with the Raiders 3 weeks in a row, and each one of them weeks they lost. You know, so something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Yep. The Sunday night game from last week was the Chiefs versus the Buccaneers, and the Chiefs absolutely blew them out. The game was practically over by like the second quarter. Like at the time, I was absolutely like garbage. I was sick and everything and everything. I literally went to sleep on the game. I put it upstairs in my room, went to sleep. I wake up and I look at the score on my screen, and it's like Chiefs were up like freaking 20 to like 3 or 6 at some point in the game. And I was like, what the heck? I'm like, I knew I made it. The Buccaneers trying to make a late comeback, but it was already too little too late. They got behind the ball, 8 ball. You know, things are not, you know, the Chiefs they're on a roll. They look like they're on their way to winning another Super Bowl. I don't blame him. They had a chance to go to the Super Bowl last year and they choked it away against the Bengals. So they're firing all cylinders. And Buccaneers, I think the Buccaneers are fine. It's just you just run into those high offense firepower teams. And right now, Brady, I guess he's getting divorced with his wife because, well, he's going to stick to playing football, but that's his life. I'm not going to judge. So,
Yeah, I honestly think you can definitely tell there's a difference in Tom Brady this football season. He doesn't seem he seems preoccupied. Obviously, what's going on with him personally. I don't think that had any effect on him in the game, but the Chiefs look like the best team in the AFC. I mean, I don't.
them and the Bills, well, no,
Well, the
Chiefs,
Bills,
yeah.
the Bills for past couple weeks have definitely had their struggles, whereas the Chiefs, this week they look really good. It was a nice bounce back game from when they lost to the Colts, whereas the Bills, they lost to Miami and they struggled mightily with the Ravens, albeit they did get a victory late on the back of Josh Allen. But the Chiefs, yeah, they look like they're definitely the best team in the AFC.
Yep. So I went with the Chiefs. You actually went the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm 11-4.
Yeah, of course, Tom Brady, man. What you talking about?
You're 10-5. Then the Monday night game last week was the Rams versus the 49ers. We both went Rams, but the 49ers said stop that, and they just blew them out the water. Made Matthew Stafford look anemic again. And this offense for the Rams, my God, I didn't see this game because I was coaching practice at the time, but this Rams offense is absolutely anemic. Allen Robinson, absolute no-show, but not shocking there. Well, other than Coop, they're really missing Odell Beckham Jr. And then two, that offensive line for them sucks as well.
And to piggyback on all of that, the Rams have got to take everybody's best shot because they're the Super Bowl champs. It's different when you're the hunter and when you're being hunted. You have to have a totally different mentality. So maybe they'll pick that. Maybe they'll pick that up later in the year. But right now, they got to they're taking everybody's best shot. And right now, they're not equipped to deal with it.
Yep. So that ends up my prediction. I end up getting this week. I think the one key win I had was the Bills win because you took the Ravens, and then the Kansas City one too. So right now we're tied with our predictions for the week, right?
Yep.
So we're both 2-2 in our predictions. So let's get. I know we only have like 9 minutes, unless you want to end this Zoom meeting off and then make a new one.
Let's stop this and make a new one.
All right, we'll be back real quick, guys. All right, we're back for this week's NFL predictions for week 5. Yeah, week 5. And we're going to get to it. So the first game was the Indianapolis Colts versus the Denver Broncos. And I think I made a good decision. One, I was not only in a bad mood because my freaking football team lost that I just got done after coaching the game, and we didn't look too good before we went into our league play. And I was like, I probably should not watch this game because I looked at the score as the game after my football game ended after me coaching. It was like 6-6 or whatever. And I was like, oh boy, I probably should not watch this game. And I made a good decision until I watched the late overtime stuff. And the The Indianapolis Colts come out victors in overtime, winning by a field goal, and the Broncos absolutely, well, Russell Wilson absolutely had KJ Hamler as a slant, and he absolutely freaking did not see him. He stuck his eyes on Cortland Sutton, got defended by Stephen Gilmore, and yeah, okay, let's get to the Colts. First, the Colts, they absolutely suck. Matt Ryan looks like he might need to retire. Like, it's terrible. So, right now, and then Jim Irsay, apparently rumors are saying he's not happy. He's not happy at all. I don't blame him. I wouldn't be happy either. My offense looks terrible, looks anemic. My defense looks somewhat solid, but, you know, Chris Ballard and Frank Wright, they might be fired after this season potentially. Because if you know Jim Irsay, last year he wasn't too happy about the play of Carson Wentz. What do you do with Carson Wentz? Got him up out of there. So he's probably going to do the same thing. I don't know, man. I think it must be something because they're always rotating quarterbacks every year. I don't know. They just don't look good. They just don't look good. Maybe it's also because Jonathan Taylor didn't play this game.
Jonathan Taylor didn't play, and Naheem Hines actually got hurt early in the game as well, too. So, I mean, they were missing their two best running backs, and the Colts are a run-heavy team. So, for the most part, I mean, you don't have any running backs to run the football. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to line up in man coverage and D up your wide receivers so you can't move the chains. So that was an easy strategy for the Broncos. Now, offensively, the Broncos, man, the Broncos.
Yeah, it's not good.
Me personally, what I think it is, it's got to be some type of internal strife within the locker room, whereas the wide receivers in that room must be complaining about the lack of targets that they're getting. To the point whereas Russell Wilson is doing the best he can to get certain folks the football, which is the reason why he probably missed Hamler. Because I got to admit, that's not normal to look straight ahead to your left at a particular wide receiver when pre-snap he should have saw that Hamler would have been open.
Yeah, so, he didn't even look over to his right.
He didn't even look over there. But pre-snap he should have saw it. Pre-snap he should have saw it.
Yeah.
So, so like I said, it's a bad look, and I think hopefully Wilson gets to a point where he just said, "Forget y'all, man. I'm gonna just move the chains." So and honestly, let's be honest. I had the same conversation with somebody else, and I'm gonna put it to you like this: on the Denver Broncos, DK Metcalf ain't there. Tyler Lockett ain't there. Rashad Perry ain't there. Y'all can say what y'all want about Hamler, Judy, and Cortland Sutton, but those guys aren't the level of DK Metcalf, in my opinion, Tyler Lockett. Those two guys in Seattle, they know how to get open. And Rashad Perry is a beast in the backfield. They got nobody the caliber of Rashad Perry in their backfield. So please, don't sit up here and say it's all Russell Wilson. It isn't. Now, granted, that play was Russell Wilson's fault because he should have saw it pre-snap. But that offensive line, the running backs, and that offense is piss poor because the players on it are average. I'm good. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Broncos don't look good, and it's not even more of a good look that the quarterback they signed all that money, they gave all those assets away, is not looking impressive. Now, maybe this could be a thing where they fire friggin' Nathaniel Hackett at the end of the year. I don't know. Nathaniel Hackett has not been impressive at all.
I doubt that. I doubt that. They just got not after 1 year. I can't imagine that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
I can't imagine. He got to get his guys up in there. Once he gets his guys up in there, maybe. But it seems like the one coaching staff you don't want to hire from is Green Bay, because Green Bay, they had Aaron Rodgers, and we all know Aaron Rodgers ran that show.
Yeah. Yeah, Denver's not in a good spot. Well, right now they're third and they're only 2-3, but it's not looking like up. It's going down.
Down.
And you know, you have your fans leaving the game before overtime.
Yeah.
That shows you that the fan base has absolutely no trust in them. Like I said, maybe their offense is still working out the kinks, but it just does not look pretty, like at all. And
NFL fans are passionate about their team, especially the ones that actually pay the money to come out to see the games. They want to see their team, pretty much perform to the level based on the players that's on the roster. You got a franchise quarterback, you should be able to put up 20 points against the Colts. I mean, 9 points. Man, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Man, that's just, on a nationally televised game, too, that's ridiculous, man. There's no excuse in Denver. None whatsoever. No excuse in Indianapolis as well, too. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, at least Indianapolis got an excuse. Their running backs was hurt, and their quarterback is damn near 40 years old. So.
Yep. I don't know how Denver's gonna turn this thing around, but I'm not sold on Denver, and I might not be picking Denver for a while.
Not in that division.
No.
Not in that division. Makes you just want to sit up and okay, Denver or the Raiders. Which one?
Yeah, which one? Right now, Raiders, they're 1-3, and they're going to the Chiefs on Monday night.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about when you're picking them against each other. Just like
the Raiders already beat them.
Yeah, we came in thinking like, you know what, man, this division's gonna be lit. They got great quarterbacks from the top to the bottom, and I gotta admit, man, this is just, as a fan looking at this with these expectations, yes, I am non-apologetically upset that I just it's not good. That's not. You expect this kind of behavior from a second-year quarterback or a third-year quarterback, but I mean, Russell Wilson's been around. He's got a Super Bowl under his belt. Man, come on, this is not good.
Yeah, so Broncos country is not riding. I'll say that. Now, a lot of people are taking their shots at Russell Wilson. Some of it's funny, some of it's uncalled for. It is what it is. That's, I guess, with the territory. So it is what it is. But
I get it. I mean, the quarterback and the coach are always the scapegoats, especially when your defense gives up 12 points in 4 quarters, or 4.5 quarters, I should say, overtime. When your defense gives up 12 points, you should be able to expect your offense to put up 13, 15, 18, whatever. And I'm sorry, they didn't even come close. They rarely came close to the red zone on the other end. Rarely came close. It was just bad, man. They got every right to be upset.
Yeah.
But Russell Wilson is not the reason for the he's not the total.
Yeah. I also can't believe, I guess, Russell Wilson is not really liked amongst the public. Because a lot of people coming out, especially public figures in the NFL, they're like, yeah, Russell Wilson, screw that guy. I don't know.
Just because he's nice, what we see is what everyone else sees. And, well, I'll say this: what we see is what Russell Wilson wants us to see. We don't know anything what's going on behind the scenes.
True.
So we think he's a nice guy because how he's portrayed in the media, but like this Dennis Rodman was a bad boy in the media, but I mean, talk to anybody that know him, they say he's one of the nicest, most approachable guys you'll ever meet. So.
Yep. So we both went Denver. So we'll start. We're already starting off 0-1. Next game is our Chicago Bears versus the Minnesota Vikings. Tomorrow we'll do our game recap of that game. But I'm expecting. Oh yeah, well, I'm going Vikings for this too.
I'm going Vikings. That offense does not travel. They, Montgomery might be back. Maybe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the thing is this. If the Giants just gave a good game plan on how to freaking just beat this Bears offense. Stack the box, blitz.
Back the box, make the quarterback throw.
Yep, pretty much. And then
And
defense.
the play caller will eventually do the quarterback in.
Yeah. And then two, when you have an inept center like Sam Mustipher.
Yep. Putting Lucas Patrick at guard.
At guard. So hopefully, Lucas Patrick's at center this week. I still don't know why the Chicago media does not ask Luke Getsy, why not just start Lucas Patrick? Because you look at the stats, Sam Mustipher was the one guy on the offensive line that gave the most pressures. Not good from your center.
Yep. Because that means you're getting pressure right in the middle.
Yep.
And another problem is our wide receivers, because we got a bunch of 2s, 3s, and 4s, and I'm not necessarily sure if Mooney is a 2, but he's definitely a slot receiver, and he will probably be most effective if you had a solid 1 and a solid 2 on the edges. So they just can't get open, and when they do get open, Justin Fields holds on the ball again too long because he's waiting for these guys to get open. I'm sure if they were open sooner, he would probably find them. But there are some instances in which he's held the ball too long and missing open receivers. So, it's just it's a problem all the way around. It's problems with the quarterback, problems with the health of the running backs, problems with how they, move the offensive line around, problems with the skill levels of the wide receivers. It's just problems all the way around. And these problems won't get solved this year.
Yeah. And then defensively, our offensive for the Vikings, they should have their way with the Bears defense. They can just gash him with the run. And then all I got to do is put Justin Jefferson on Kyler Gordon. You already know that's going to happen.
All you got to, just put Jefferson in the slot because that's where Gordon's going to line up.
Yep. Or honestly, just have freaking, if the Bears were smart, they tell Kyler Gordon, go everywhere away from him. But even then, it doesn't matter. He's still getting burned by other receivers.
Correct.
So
it
should be a blowout.
Really, I'm not going to say it's a blowout because the Bears defense, for me, and we've talked about this before, and I will move on to the next game. The Bears defense for me has been very good. Outside of Kyler Gordon and our undersized DTs, this defense has been very good.
So, yeah.
Kilder Vildor has been good. I'm shocked because last year he was atrocious, but the defense has been good. It's been good. It's keeping the Bears in games. No touchdowns in the second half. That's keeping your offense in the game, that your offense can do what it has to do. But unfortunately, offense hasn't been able to do anything.
Yep. Well, that's it. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, they should have a fairly easy game to win. Second game in London is the New York Giants versus the Green Bay Packers. Packers should have their way with the Giants. 1, Daniel Jones is hobbling into this game, and then 2, the Packers should beat them fairly easily, but then again, they let a freaking third-string quarterback almost beat them in their own building. So I'm going to go Green Bay here.
I'm going to go Green Bay as well, too. But at the same time, though, as long if Daniel Jones can not make mistakes, the Giants should actually be in this football game. They really should. So I'm going to go with the Packers. I'm not going to say a blowout because obviously the Packers, for some strange reason, they are not playing, they're still playing highly conservative football, whether it be the pass or the run. So I'll say Packers, but I'll still say pretty much a close, mid-20s type scoring game.
Yep. Next game, Pittsburgh versus the Bills. Bills are at the home team. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills just from the standpoint.
I'm sorry. Did you say the Bills are the home team?
Yeah.
For me, this is going to – you know what? Kenny Pickett starting with a week of reps with the first squad. This is going to be an interesting game for me. I mean, Bills are going to win because a rookie is not going to go into Buffalo of all places and beat the Bills. So this is going to be an interesting game for me. I'll still say Bills, probably still by a couple touchdowns, but I'm going to say the Bills.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know I cut you off, but I'm sorry about that.
You're good. You're good. Yeah, pretty much. I just think on the road, it's going to be tough for a rookie quarterback to win a game like that against a pretty stout
Correct.
defense, even though they're out a lot of guys.
Yep.
But going on to the next game, the Chargers versus the Cleveland Browns. Um, I'm going to go with Cleveland being the home team. And I think Myles Garrett is returning for this game. We already know that their the Chargers left tackle is out. And Keenan Allen's also out again this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the Cleveland they rebound out from their loss against against the Falcons and they beat the Chargers.
Oh, I think this is probably where we're gonna have to. This is probably where the rubber meets the road on this one. I'm not really sold on Cleveland. Oh, I'm gonna go Chargers
Okay.
because I honestly think that they should recover pretty well with their injuries that they've what they suffered. Um, I think the Browns are they're fading fast. So they're fading fast. So something's got to happen. So yeah, I'll go with the Chargers.
Okay. Detroit versus New England. New England's the home team in this game. I'm still gonna go with Detroit, mostly from the standpoint, even though New England's defense seems really solid this year.
Yeah.
We don't know if Zap is gonna be playing or Hoyer. But I've just been more impressed with what Detroit's been giving me, and they've already had a pretty good road test when they went to Minnesota. I'm gonna go with Detroit pulling off the win here.
I like Detroit as well too, although I'm not sure if St. Brown is going to play. Josh Reynolds are going to play. I think DJ Chark is out. So it's really going to, I'm not, and even Swift is questionable, I believe, as well. So the Lions are kind of banged up on their offense. Not the kind of banged up that you want to go into the Patriots and face that defense with. Now, granted, it's New England, but it's Belichick. Still Belichick, so he's going to be prepared defensive. But I'll still go with the Lions because that offense is explosive.
Yeah. Next game is Seattle versus the Saints. I've been impressed with Seattle. I'm actually gonna go with Seattle winning on the road against the Saints.
Okay.
The Saints are actually gonna miss Michael Thomas yet again
Yep.
for this game.
Yep.
But the Seattle Seahawks, they've just been looking impressive with Geno Smith at the helm. So I'm gonna go with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, it seems that um, the Seahawks they do a lot of this at home, and I think this week they are in New Orleans, if
Yeah,
I'm correct.
they're on the road. They're on the road.
Yeah, they're in New Orleans. So, um, yeah, honestly, I think the Saints will. I think the Saints will bounce back. I think the Saints will bounce back and get this one. I think Kamara is scheduled to play. Yes, Thomas he was definitely ruled out. Don't expect Jameis Winston to be back anytime soon. And Andy Dalton gets a week of reps with the first squad. So I liked what the Saints have done in the past, and I think I like what the Saints will do this Sunday too.
Yep. Next game is the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. I'm gonna go with Miami, even with the backup quarterback. I just think the Miami Dolphins have a lot more firepower than the Jets. Well, the Jets do have a firepower offense as well in terms of receivers they got, but I'm gonna go with Miami just from the standpoint. I think they're just gonna give that Jets defense some fits.
Where are they?
New York.
Miami don't really travel very well when they have to go to cold weather stadiums. Zach Wilson is back with a full week of reps. Yeah, I gotta admit now. You know what? I'm sorry, I can't do it. I gotta go Jets. Because believe it or not, I have more faith in Wilson than I do Bridgewater.
Okay.
That sounds really weird because Bridgewater is a really good quarterback. But on the road, even with the speed that you got in Waddle and Hill, yeah, I like the Jets.
Yeah. If you wanted to know what it's going to be like the weather, 63 with high 63 in the sun.
63.
So I lived on the East Coast. So that would be probably fairly warm.
Not 93.
Not 93, but it would still be warm. It'd still be warm.
Oh, you're right. It's warm, but it ain't 93.
Next game, Atlanta at Tampa Bay. I'm going Tampa Bay here.
Tom Brady bounces back big time, and I just, if it's close, I'll be shocked.
Yeah. Tennessee versus the Washington Commanders. Titans,
because Titans. I don't think anybody. I got a coworker who's a Washington fan, man. He comes in shaking his head every Monday, and you know what it's about.
He might have some things to say because the Bears play Commanders next week on Thursday night.
Maybe. He might actually feel good going into Thursday.
Yep. Next game, the Houston Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are going to get this game. It might actually be. This honestly might be a close game. This might be a close game because the Houston Texans, they do play tough. And Lovie Smith, he might try to do some things that will try to throw Trevor Lawrence off his game, but I think the Jags should pull out of this game.
I like the Jags as well, too. Keep in mind, these might be two of the best teams in the AFC South. That don't say much for the division, but these might be two of the best teams in the AFC South. I mean, these are the only two teams that I can see. Well, Tennessee is starting to pick it up a little bit, that are actually playing with some gumption, if you know what I mean. So, what's the term I use for the Clippers? Testicular fortitude. To me, that's these two teams, but I do like Jacksonville.
Yep. Next game, San Francisco at the Panthers. Blow up by San Francisco.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Baker Mayfield, I'm holding firm. Week 7, they're gonna come out with Darnold.
Honestly, you can make the prediction that the Panthers barely might not even move the ball with how stout that San Francisco defense is.
I mean,
right now. Well, if the offense looked really good for the San Francisco 49ers, 49ers probably be the best team in the NFC. Right now, if you ask me, they have the best defense in the NFC.
Yeah, they're definitely the best defense in the NFC. I don't know about the best team right now, but right now, I mean, I guess for me that's a video for another day.
Yeah.
But there's a couple other teams that I think are actually playing much better than the 49ers.
Yeah. I'll say this. Honestly, if you could ask me who might be defensive player of the year right now, I'd probably have to put that Hufanga. That guy is a dude.
Man, that dude is all over the place. Let's see if it can continue, though.
I'm already predicting he gets a pick off of Baker Mayfield already.
Oh, somebody gonna get a pick off Baker Mayfield. That's not necessarily a prediction. Somebody gonna get one. You just predicting a specific cat.
Okay.
Baker gonna throw at least 2. And he might even fumble once, too.
Next game, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Rams. This might be an interesting game. You know what? I'm going to go with the upset. I got Dallas on the road winning this game against the Rams.
I like Dallas's defense. I like the way they're playing. They are winning the old-fashioned way, run the ball, stop the run. Quarterback don't make any mistakes. That's the way Dallas has been doing it. And I got to admit, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I am a Micah Parsons fan. Man, if there's one Cowboy jersey I will ever wear, it's going to be Micah Parsons. That dude is amazing. Dallas Cowboy wins by a touchdown.
Next game is Philadelphia versus Arizona. I'm going to go with Philadelphia just because they have more firepower, but I think this could be a back and forth game. I think this could be another good game here.
It could be a back and forth, but Philadelphia will. I think Philadelphia will win. They have the best players on the field for me.
Now we're doing this video on Saturday. Right now, Texas is up 28-0 in the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's because Oklahoma sucks.
You going Philadelphia?
Yeah, I'm going Philadelphia.
Okay. The Sunday night football game this week is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, shoot.
Ooh, this is a tough one. A team that is bouncing back from his poor first couple of weeks against a team who needs to bounce back after another bad loss.
I'm gonna go
in Cincinnati.
In Baltimore.
That makes it all the worse.
I'm gonna go with Cincinnati just from the standpoint that Ravens defense hasn't been as good as we thought they were going to be. If they're getting sacks on Joe Burrow, then that's going to be a good thing for them. But
that's just it. Joe Burrow, since those first couple weeks, he has played lights out the last two.
Yeah,
and you can tell they're slowly starting to look like the team that was in the Super Bowl last year. So, I'll go with Cincinnati.
Okay,
I'm
going with Cincy too.
I'm going with Cincinnati on the road as well, primarily because when it comes to the two defenses, I think the Cincinnati defense is the defense that can come up with a stop.
Okay. The Monday night game this week is the Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. I think the Chiefs blow out the Raiders.
You want to make my pick for me?
Yep. Well. It's not looking.
You know I'm picking Kansas City. Come on now. I mean, there is no way I'm going to pick the hapless Raiders. Whether they in Kansas City, Las Vegas, Madagascar, or even Mar-a-Lago, I don't care. The Raiders are not winning this football game.
Yeah.
35, I'll say 35-20. I'll give the Raiders some credit. They'll get 20 points.
Okay. Before we end the video, looking at the standings wise, the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins are number 1 in the division, obviously because they beat the Bills, but they're both equally 3-1. The Jets are 2-2, and the Patriots shockingly are 4th place in the division at 1-3. They potentially could drop down to 1-4 if they lose this week. Yep. In the AFC North, it's honestly a lot tighter right now between 3 teams. It's between the Browns, the Bengals, and Baltimore, and we know 2 of those teams are playing each other, which is the Bengals and Baltimore. Those 3 teams are equally at 2-2 apiece. Right now, Pittsburgh is 1-3. Potentially could be not potentially. They are going to be 1-4. So Mike Tomlin might have another losing season under his belt. AFC South. Things have started to even out a bit. In terms of what Tennessee's doing, Colts, they look like they could be on the downturn, but Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Indianapolis, they're all 2-2. And then Houston is 0-3. Right now, potentially could be 0-4. We don't know.
Well, but the great thing about the Texans, they really haven't been blown out by anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the majority, their games have been decently close, in which they've been in all of these games. It's just
they're a young team.
They're a young team, and things just didn't go their way. So, but it just says to me just how tough that division is. So I just want to make sure we mention that about the Houston Texans.
Yeah,
their play does not, I mean, their record does not define how they've played.
Yeah. They could get back into the division race if they get a win against Jacksonville this week.
Yeah. They can start there.
AFC West, like we thought it would be the best division, but right now it's not looking like it's the best division. Kansas City's is in first place at 3-1. Broncos and Chargers are tied. Chargers are 2-2. Denver is 2-3, and Las Vegas is 1-3, and they're gonna probably drop. No, not probably. They are gonna drop to 1-4.
Yeah.
In terms of the NFC, the Eagles, and for NFC East, they're 4-0. Dallas and the Giants, they're both 3-1, but Dallas holds the tiebreaker right now because they won the first game, and then Washington, 1-3, going on 1-4 soon. NFC North,
Washington gonna be, in the C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young sweepstakes. That's how bad Washington's gonna be.
Probably, yeah.
Bears too.
Maybe. That's it.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about the draft pick now. I'm not talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers are tied for first place at 3-1. But Minnesota holds the tiebreaker because they beat Green Bay first. The Bears are 2-2, and the Detroit Lions are 1-3. NFC South, shockingly enough, right now it's between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. So the Atlanta Falcons pull up the upset. They'll be first place in the division.
Wow.
They're both 2-2 right now. Carolina and New Orleans are tied at 1-3.
Carolina's another team that's going to be vying for C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young too. So,
yeah.
I don't foresee them being they'll probably stay in last place, but as far as being that close to the division leader, that's not going to last.
Yeah. Right now, in terms of the NFC West, if you would ask me, that's probably the best division in football right now. All teams are 2-2 apiece. Only thing is San Francisco's in first place because they already have division wins against Seattle and the Rams.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And this season, you have some team. I mean, you got teams that'll play each other 6 times. So you can go 6-0 against within your division. I mean, that really sets you up for a really good spot to make the playoffs.
Yep. Well, that's pretty much it for our predictions of this week. Again, hopefully we'll get them out quicker. Our predictions and recap for next week, but there's no guarantees on that. I'm coaching, and we're in our league now, and I'm trying to win a league championship. So
that's how we do it. I start coaching next month. So I'll be coaching 2 teams. So yeah, I know exactly how you feel. So it's going to become even more busy with our schedules, in which I might have to do one of these videos right after practice in the gym.
Yep. Well, anyways, guys, if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the predictions and the recaps and stuff like that, as well as your thoughts on this past Thursday night game, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more NFL content. NBA is about to come back soon, so we'll definitely have NBA content on the channel. And yeah, but other than that, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Catch you guys on the next video. I'm gonna be watching some college football, doing homework, and even watching some of these MLB playoff games because my
Bama's gonna blow out A&M.
You want to give your quick thoughts on any of the MLB playoff games if you check them out?
Oh man, San Diego. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, I was shocked that San Diego got to Scherzer earlier.
Man. Now granted, when you throw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle of the plate to a power hitter, what is he supposed to do with it?
And a home run.
Absolutely. And Scherzer did it 4 times.
Yep. I was shocked that Seattle got to Toronto early on, and they just pretty much handled them.
Seattle's good. Seattle is their pitching staff is deep. They're really good defensive baseball team. Seattle is really good. So look for them to make some noise in the playoffs. I hate the way I shouldn't say I hate it because I can't stand the Cardinals, but loss against the Phillies, that was heartbreaking. That's the kind of loss right there that can really do them in for the series.
Yeah, and if you guys know, again, these videos, I'm gonna get this video up on Saturday. These two games, because it's the best series of 3. Some of these series could be over by today. I haven't checked the Tampa Bay Guardians score right now, but I'll definitely do that after the video. Right now the Guardians are up.
But looking forward, I want to see more of San Diego. They got some backs, man, that just
San Diego and New York play tonight. So
I'm staying up because Alabama plays Texas A&M, and that's at 2 a.m. for me. Mm-hmm. So should be able to catch. I should be able to catch that game.
Yeah. Right now, Tampa Bay and Cleveland. It's end of the 7th inning, going to the 8th. 0-0 still.
Yep. So. Hey man, pitch defense, man. That's what wins these chips in baseball.
Yep.
You know, so gotta play small ball.
All right, guys. Catch you guys on the next video. Maybe I'll drop some MLB wild card video. Maybe if the wild card finishes up today, if all the games finish up today and the winners win, well, I might have to make a video about the MLB playoffs.
Let me know, man. I'd love to talk about the San Diego Padres.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys. Peace.
All right.